All right, to get Revit at home, the first thing you're going to do is click on the account or the link. And it brings you to Autodesk Education, as you can see up here, Autodesk Education and the Revit page. The first thing you want to do is click Create Account. Once you do that, it's going to ask you what country you're in. You're going to have to find the United States by scrolling down. There we are. Your educational role in this case is a student. Your institution type is secondary. They call it high school secondary. And you are going to have to enter a birthday that shows you're at least 13 years old. If you're not yet 13 years old, you can use January 1 of 13 years ago. So the recording of this video, that would be 2007. And go ahead and click Next. The next thing you're going to do is you're going to go ahead and put your information in. You can put first name, last name, and then you're going to want to type an email address in. I'm going to actually try to use my a different email address because I need to be able to show you what happens in this process. And you'll have to type it in and confirm it. You'll want to create a password that meets all the requirements, and you agree and you click Create Account. It's going to then ask you to verify your account. So you are going to have to go over and log into that email. Obviously, you'll be doing this in your Microsoft Outlook. And once you do that, you should have, sorry, that was a security alert. I should have my Autodesk one. And so I'm going to verify my email. Once I've done that and click Done, it's going to redirect me and it's going to ask me some questions. Now, this is the part that some people get confused about. When we look at name of educational institute, if you go to type in Fox Ridge, I believe it wasn't coming up. Yes, it wasn't coming up. Instead, you can go ahead and type in Cherry Creek Schools. Our area of study is architecture, and you are enrolled from, well, we always start in August, and you can go ahead and pick August of 2019, and you will graduate in May. And you might have to count out and figure out what your year of graduation is, but go ahead and put that in there. And go ahead and pick Next. So I didn't like that I picked 2026, so you might have to pick 2025. And then I can go ahead and click Continue. And that should set up my account. And should log me in, so you don't see that anymore. And then what you're going to do is you're going to pick what you need to pick. Hopefully your computer is new enough that you can pick Revit 2020. It does require that you have 64-bit Windows installed. And I'm going to want to run mine in English. You can choose something different if you want to. And as you can see, it gives you this serial number, product key, tells you how big the file is, which it is quite large, and you can install it on up to 2 devices. Okay, as you scroll down, you'll find the button that says Install Now. When you click it, it will ask you to agree, and then go ahead and install. Now this downloads a small installer. And as you can see, you'll have to click it and it will open the Install Now and this will load up, and you can follow the prompts, basically saying yes all the way through. After some loading, you'll see this screen appear. And when you do, you'll want to click Install. It thinks about it for a minute as it looks at the requirements of your computer. After it determines your installation requirements, it'll show you this screen, which has a bunch of different stuff clicked on. Go ahead and load all of it. I know it's a large install, but you're going to end up wanting all of it in there. So we go ahead and click Install here. And at this point, you're going to have these bars working for quite a bit of time. The next thing that I'm going to show you will be after this installer completes, and we'll show you where exactly to put that number in that it gave you. Now, it did email it to you, and I will tell you something kind of weird. Do not delete this email because you're going to want to get it from here, because right now if you go to your account and you go to all products and services, until you install it, it for whatever reason doesn't show up in your account. It's kind of strange like that. So if you accidentally close out of your web browser like I did, you can't necessarily just go and find it in here until after you've installed it once. So at that point, it should show up in here. But like I said, we're going to let this installer run, and I'm going to pick the video up again after this part of it runs all the way through to the point where the installer is finished. After the installer is run, you're going to get a window that looks like this, hopefully with all the green check marks. Now, I did actually have to run mine twice, so just in case that happens to you. So if it ends up, does some weird stuff, you hit OK, you end up at the end with some sort of unsuccessful installation, you may have to open the folder. And for me, it was downloads, because that's where I put the downloads one. And when you do that, you will see probably two different things. Make sure you start the one that has, let me stretch this out just a little bit, that says web install. Okay, it's going to be the smaller file size if you're looking at it in this details view. So make sure you use the one that's the smaller file size. It'll recognize this other one, and your download time will be much faster. But that's what you can do just in case this doesn't show up as successful. Because it takes a little bit to load, I'm going to go ahead and click Launch Now and let it do its thing. But I'm not going to make you watch me load this. Now, I do have kind of a weird display, so just be aware that you might not see your windows quite so shrunken down, but it's just some settings that are on my computer. So beyond that, you're going to look at this, and the first thing after you hit launch will be to agree to the privacy statement. When you click I agree, it'll continue to process. You should then see a window, it looks like this, that talks about your loading. You can see the software starting to load into the background. And once it does that, now we sometimes will get, now that might have been what came up in that little screen for me. You hopefully should get some sort of screen that pops up that allows you to go ahead and put your file in, but I'm not seeing that it opened. All right, well, if it does ask you about a license file, go ahead and click on the one that says I have the numbers. I'm just going to double check the terms here. Actually over here. I have a product key and serial number. Okay, so if it says something about a serial number, these are the numbers that you're going to want to use. Do not say about standalone or single user or any of the other stuff, click on the one that says I have a serial number. It should take you right to the screen where you can enter this information. So make sure you do that. That is the installation part of this. Now, I do want to also point out, I have it up still, which I do not. You will find other videos that I will post that will do two different things. Number one, how you get the Revit template that we use at school. So in case you need to create a new file, you'll have all the settings you're used to. Or, also a video that'll show you how do you get your project downloaded from school so that you can work on the current one you have. Okay.